Okay, that's the take coming in on what to expect from Parliament's winter session. Sure promises to be a stormy one at that, especially given that the crypto bill as well is going to be tabled. But Gautam Adani has surpassed Mukesh Ambani's net worth to become India's as well as Asia's richest person. This is as per the group market cap. Kunal, just very quickly, given that the pool of the listed universe for MDA companies is restricted to Reliance Industries and the long-term triggers are still awaited in terms of what happens to Jio as well as Reliance retail listing. At the same time, the plethora of Adani Group companies which are already listed, if you had to initiate a fresh buy on any of the Adani names, which one would you pick? And would it be the obvious one, which is Adani Ports?
Yeah, Adani Enterprise as well, Aisha. I think that's a very strong chart as such, which is shaping up. So agreed, it's a very, very high beta name. The stock has tendencies of moving into 20 to 25% kind of a trend in a very short span of time. So it moves up higher as well, and it drops down as well in a very similar kind of magnitude. But when you look at this in totality of what Adani Enterprise has done over the last 18 months of the price rally for itself, from being a stock which I remember very clearly being at 155 to 185 or 200 odd range for a larger period of time many years back. The stock has done exceptionally well, specifically in the last 18 months. It's picked up good pace, even on the short term charts. In fact, the last 6 to 8 months, I remember, I think from June or July 2021, from there Adani group of stocks had gone into a bit of a backseat mode. Many of the Adani group of stocks had fallen 20-25%. Large cap names like Adani Ports as well had fallen some 15% off from its previous swing highs. But then Adani Enterprise has been one of the first ones to try and recover. Adani Green has also managed to show some good price action. Adani Total Gas has been another stock which has done reasonably well. In fact, Adani Ports today was a day of sort of a breakout for the stock about that 775, 780 zone. But I believe now that the stock has reversed many of its breakout points because of the market succumbing back into selling pressure. So I believe in terms of durable trends, it's actually Adani Enterprise which is looking far more stronger. But then, as I said earlier, that for someone who's looking to buy the stock, he needs to have a very high risk appetite because there is possibility of a 10 to 15% swing which happens, at any point of time into these kind of names.
Right. In fact, Jayesh joins in with more analysis and insight on Gautam Adani's group market cap now exceeding Mukesh Ambani's. Okay, we will get to Jayesh in just a second from now. Naresh, what ideas are you picking up, both from the Adani as well as MDA groups? Any trading opportunities here?
So it's generally the obvious choice, which is Adani Ports, given that it is the lowest beta in the whole group, and it has crossed a recent swing high of about that 760 mark. So that is one which could go up to 820, 830, and one could have a stop loss a bit deeper at 740. So the problem out here is the risk rewards are not great. Adani Enterprises has given a breakout today, a new 52-week and an all-time high. So out here also one could keep a stop loss at closer to 1750 and ride on. But I would go with Adani Ports first and then maybe an Adani Enterprises.
Ports first and then Adani Enterprises, although Kunal believes that a buy on Adani Enterprises is the more lucrative trade right now. But let's look at the underperformance as well of late, Kunal, on Reliance Industries. Ever since the deal with Saudi Aramco got called off, we have seen significant amount of pressure on Reliance Industries. In fact, cracked quite hard on Monday alone, and then you've seen some follow-through selling as well coming in. What levels do you now monitor on RIL?
This is not a good sign for Reliance Industries as a stock price because, I believe after yesterday's price action, there was probably some sense of anticipation that the stock would probably have bottomed out closer to that 2,300, 2,320 mark, which was the swing low which the stock made yesterday. And the reason for that is the last 2 days of volume. So yesterday's price action, where the stock closed positive, recovered, I think 3% to 4% from its intraday lows. And the previous days of price action, when the news actually came out for Reliance Industries, on both of those days, volumes were almost equal to each other. But because of the the recovery in price action, there was probably a sense and a belief that maybe Reliance Industries could probably have bottomed out. So, when typically you see such kind of a strong price action and volume action happens on consecutive days of, of the stock price trading, then you expect a bottom in place and then a follow through price action on the upside, which happens for Reliance Industries. But we've not seen that happening. In fact, today the stock was, doing pretty well till the, mid session. But again, in the last hour or so, the stock has succumbed back towards selling. The inability of the stock to break past about 24.25, 24.30 mark, I think, could probably be one of the hindrance points for the stock picking up any kind of trend. So I would be of the belief that maybe Reliance Industries as a stock price could probably take some bit of more time to consolidate over here before you see the stock price getting more stronger. I think a breakout and a close about 24.25 mark on the spot levels could actually be a very strong litmus test. And if the stock manages to cross about those levels and sustain for, say, a couple of trading sessions about this 24.25, then I believe that the possibility of a trend reversal could happen for Reliance Industries.
All right. Thanks, Kunal, for sharing that insight on Reliance Industries. Indeed, now we have taken a chart check on Reliance Industries and quite a few of those Adani Group stocks. We're joined on the phone line by Deven Choksi, though. Thank you so much, Deven, for taking the time. We are, of course, talking about the resurgence in a couple of those Adani Group stocks that has essentially propelled Mr. Adani into the top position as far as the richest list is concerned. But I guess if you compare the two, Reliance Industries and the Adani Group companies, it's not necessarily a like-to-like comparison. So zooming out, if you were to take a longer-term view of things, as things stand right now, how do you view the Adani Group companies? How do you view the businesses? In what do you see value that can currently be taken up?
Yeah, good afternoon. And I think that this is a very interesting way of, putting across this particular proposition of comparing both the groups. On one side, Adani Group is largely involved in the area of infrastructure and power and utility related businesses, where I think particularly in infrastructure business, they have the higher amount of EBITDA generated after completion of the CapEx. So initially the higher amount of capital input but subsequently very high amount of cash generation through the business of infrastructure, import, in transmission line businesses, in solar power businesses. Everywhere actually you have significantly large amount of cash generation actually because of the inherent nature of the business by itself. Whereas on the other side, Reliance Group of companies, they have a portfolio which is distributed across oil and gas. That is industrial products on one side, which is oil and gas, and I think the petrochemicals and other chemical products. And on the other side, the consumer-facing businesses, which are the geos and the retails of the world, where I think they are significantly ramping up the business. Between industrial and the consumer-facing business, I think the ratio currently would be somewhere around 55-45, kind of a mix between the two. Reliance Group is at least tracking a 4 times bigger as far as EBITDA is concerned compared to Adani. Adani this year could be, or 3 times maybe. I think Adani this year may end up doing somewhere around 38-40,000 crore. Whereas Reliance could end up, I think, doing a group level EBITDA at around 115 to 120,000 crores. So almost 3 times the size of what Adani is there. But at the same time, as I said, that I think the market has its own way of looking at the business. Certainly, I think infrastructure businesses are generating high cash after completing the CapEx program. I think they are typically being looked at a little bit more differently, and that is why they're getting relatively higher valuation, I believe, at this point.
Part of this conversation, Deven, also has to revolve around the recent drop in the share price for Reliance Industries. And this is, of course, after that update that the company shared on the Aramco deal. How do you view this? Because we've looked at Reliance Industries, a lot of people talk about the sum of parts valuation, and that obviously had to adjust. But how do you see that moving going forward?
So in my viewpoint, I think when they had intended to sign up with Aramco in 2019, at that time, I think largely the intention was to have the O2C partners in the company for a strategic reason that they would have joined hands together to develop, I think, the fossil fuel related business portfolio significantly. But since then, in thereafter 2 years' time, I think things have changed both for Reliance as well as for Aramco. For Reliance as well as for Aramco. For Reliance, I think things have changed because earlier they were counting on receiving the money from Aramco to pay their debt. But subsequently in 2020, they ended up paying their debt by way of, I think, monetizing the assets in Jio as well as in retail. And they could manage to garner about 260,000 crores, including from the rights issue. Now, I think the other part of the activity, as far as I think Aramco is concerned, I think they too have gone public in this particular period, and probably their shareholders would also demand that instead of, I think, tying up with Reliance for fossil fuel business, I think might as well go for the green fuel business, in which Reliance has made a big announcement. So both Reliance as well as Aramco are likely to probably partner themselves with each other going forward. Maybe in the green fuel business as against, I think, pure OTC business. And that's where I think they're reevaluating the deal. That is what my understanding is. Should that happen, it would be a win-win for both of them. That is what I would like to take. Maybe I think we are awaiting for more amount of development sitting on that side. But I would believe that Aramco's intention to become the largest supplier of the hydrogen fuel, green fuel, and Reliance's intention to, I think, not only supply hydrogen fuel, but also, I think, supply the technology in the area of even solar and solar panels. So from that point of view, I think those two companies could work together, could make a win-win kind of a format. And this could be the new evaluation, I think, that both of them are talking about. So let's wait and see, I believe.
Right. They've been always good to have you on the show. Thanks as always for taking the time out. In fact, let me take it across to Jayesh as well, get in some more statistics on this beat that one is seeing from Gautam Adani now becoming richest in India as well as Asia and overtaking Mukesh Ambani. Jayesh?
That's right. We do have breaking news right here on ET Now, quoting that Gautam Adani has surpassed Mukesh Ambani as Asia as well as India's richest person based on today's market capitalization. Now, let me just remind our viewers that, there is a difference between the two market caps that, both the groups have. Reliance on one hand has nearly 15 lakh crores while, the Adani group is almost about 10 lakh crores or thereabouts. Now, because of the promoter holding stake, that's the reason we are flagging off that, Gautam Adani has overtaken Mukesh Ambani as the richest person in India as well as Asia. If you have a look at yesterday's close price for both the groups, Gautam Adani's net worth was about $88.8 billion, whereas Mukesh Ambani's net worth was about $91 billion. And based on the intraday high, due to the surge in the Adani Group shares, particularly Adani Ports as well as Adani Enterprises, we have flagged off that Gautam Adani has surpassed Mukesh Ambani. Remember that, Gautam Adani in this year itself has added more than $55 billion, excluding today's gain, whereas on the other hand, you have Mukesh Ambani, who's added just about $15 billion this year. So that's the key difference. And yes, it has been confirmed that, for a brief moment, now whether the closing prices reflect that or not, irrespective, but for a brief moment, Gautam Adani did become India as well as Asia's richest person.
Okay. We'll leave it at that, Jayesh. In fact, we're going to take a very quick break with news that the market has dipped into the red and the breadth of the market has also completely reversed. While Adani Ports is sure going strong, Reliance is not, nor is Tata Consumer, Maruti, Infosys, L&T, ITC. The list of losers is only getting endless.